Hello everyone. Tonight, we are going to explore a world you've never imagined before. Picture it a time thousands of years ago, with no phones, no internet, and most importantly, no Wi-Fi. What would you do if you couldn't connect with the outside world? Imagine for a moment you are reincarnated as a prehistoric human living in a hunter-gatherer society with no electricity, no technology. What would your life be like when everything you do depends entirely on what nature provides? Would you be able to survive in this dangerous world? So before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy what I'm doing here. And don't forget to share where you're watching this from, along with the local time. Now turn off the lights, maybe turn on a fan for a soft background noise, and let's enjoy this evening's journey together. Part 1. Life without Wi-Fi. You wake up in a small tent, the faint light of the morning shining through the cracks in the tent's roof. You're not sure exactly what time it is, as there's no clock. But one thing's for sure, you can't check your phone. There's no Wi-Fi, and definitely no smartphone. Everything around you is pretty simple. Stones, trees, and wild animals. You sigh and look around. Another day of having to hunt, gather, and try not to get eaten by a tiger, you think. But wait, things aren't always that bad. You still have one very important fact. You don't have to worry about someone calling you at 2 a.m. in a way that brings an indescribable kind of peace. So you step out of the tent, even though your mother warned you. Don't forget to bring a stone and don't go too far. But you can't just sit around all day. You decide to try and hunt a rabbit. After all, your stomach is growling. Stepping out, you see a gentle, sunny day with a clear, cloudless sky. You walk aimlessly, although you know your mother would never forgive you if you return empty-handed. No Wi-Fi, no Netflix, no Facebook, but at least there's fire to cook with, you tell yourself. Still, you wonder if one day humans might invent something like a phone. That would surely make life a lot easier. Or at least you could update your busy status on Facebook. As you wander around the forest, you suddenly remember the story your mother once told you. Back in the old days, people didn't have the comforts we have now, but at least they knew how to survive by connecting with nature. And you start wondering, what kind of conveniences did prehistoric humans have? But there's something you don't know. You won't survive if you don't know how to find food. The lives of Stone Age hunter-gatherers weren't always easy, and you're not the best hunter. You look around, and then you notice something concerning. You can't find any signs of rabbits. It's just rocks, trees, and a few bear tracks. You remember your mother's warning. Make sure you get back early, or you'll run into those dangerous creatures. Honestly, you didn't think it through when you set out early this morning. But you can't go back empty-handed, so you begin searching the bushes, looking for any sign of a rabbit. And then you find a trail. A small footprint, quite fresh. It leads you into a sparse part of the forest where there are many large rocks. You move slowly, listening carefully to every sound around you. Suddenly you hear a soft noise, as if someone is gently walking behind you. You turn around, your heart racing, but there's no one there. It must just be a squirrel, you tell yourself. But then you feel that something is off. Just then, you realize you've wandered too far and might be lost in the forest. Out of nowhere, a large dark shape appears in front of you. It's not a rabbit, it's a tiger. Yes, a real tiger. You freeze, motionless, unsure of what to do. You wonder if you can survive in this situation. And just as you think you might face the worst possible outcome, the tiger turns and walks away, seemingly uninterested in you. You exhale a deep sigh of relief, but then you realize you were probably much closer to death than you realized. All right, maybe I should head back, you think to yourself. And in the end, you decide to return home. When you get back, your mother looks at you and says, "I told you not to go too far, but at least you've learned an important lesson. Life isn't always easy, and if you're not careful, you could end up being dinner for a tiger. So you've learned something today. Life without Wi-Fi is certainly a challenge, but there's something in that peace you've never experienced before." Part 2. Choosing between stone or wood. you wake up with a strange feeling, as though you've just had a long dream about a different world, one full of conveniences, smartphones and apps that do everything for you. But that's just a dream, and now you're living in a world where things like phones and Wi-Fi don't exist. This world only has stone wood, and the wildlife you must learn to adapt to. Your mother calls from inside the cave, her voice full of care but also stern. Don't forget to bring sharp stones, and don't forget the traps. You sigh looking around your small tent. Everything here is so simple. The only tools you have are sharp stones and dry twigs, not to mention your wooden spade waiting to dig traps. Stepping outside, you feel the coldness of the early morning. Another morning, another day of work. Your stomach growls again, but you know that if you want food, you'll need to catch at least a rabbit, or maybe even a bird. You can't keep living on the things you pick up from the forest. You look at the stone you prepared the day before. It's not perfect, but maybe it will do for a tool. You smile, trying to encourage yourself. Don't worry too much. At least you don't have to worry about your stone suddenly running out of battery like people's phones did in your old world. You pick up a stone and try to sharpen it again. The surface is rough, and you feel a slight disappointment. At this moment, you start thinking about using wood instead of stone. Your father once told you wood isn't as durable as stone, but it's much easier to work with. You don't really understand why you're so uncertain about choosing between stone and wood. But in this world, everything is a matter of survival. If you choose stone, you'll have a sharp tool, but it's brittle and could hurt you. On the other hand, wood isn't as sharp, but it's lighter and easier to shape. You decide to try making a trap using both materials. A combination of stone and wood might just be the best way to succeed. The choice isn't just about picking tools. You start thinking about hunting, but there's a major problem you haven't solved yet. You're not the best hunter in the tribe. Your mother always advises you to learn from the more experienced hunters, but in reality, they seem more interested in pushing you to work rather than sharing their knowledge. All you have are a few skills in tool making, but when faced with prey, you don't know what to do besides panic. This morning, you decide to try hunting near the forest close to your tent. Before heading out, you recall the hunters saying, "What can't be done by strength can be done by wit." You think of a trap you could set to catch prey without having to chase it down. But the problem is, you don't have the patience to sit still and wait for a rabbit to get close to the trap you just set. So you try again. This time you're more careful, but your trap doesn't work as expected. You feel an odd sense of failure, but then you realize that life in the Stone Age is not as easy as the movies you used to watch on Netflix. A small mistake can cost you an entire day just to regain a little hope. When you return, your mother scolds you again for not learning more from the older hunters. You wonder if perhaps you're just unlucky when it comes to hunting, but at least you learned something important. Sometimes life isn't as easy as you think, and maybe finding the balance between stone and wood, between wit and strength, is the key to surviving. Part 3. The Hunting Challenge. Another day arrives, and you have no choice but to continue down this difficult path. The hunger in your stomach urges you, but there's no simple way to make things easier. You still have to go hunting. It's just another day in this world, where life and death hang on small decisions. You sigh and look up at the sky. Today is a beautiful day, with a bright blue sky and warm sunlight shining through the trees. This is definitely a good opportunity to go hunting, and you're ready. Your father always told you, hunting isn't simple. Don't think it will always be like a dream. You silently nod, knowing that his words are probably true, because not every day brings good luck. Yesterday you failed, and today you don't want to repeat that mistake. This time, you decide to hunt in your own way. You don't want to make the same old mistakes. You recall the words of an old hunter in the tribe. Hunting is not just chasing after prey. It's a battle of patience. You realize that instead of chasing the animal, You need to pay attention to your surroundings and learn how to read the signs the prey leaves behind. Venturing deeper into the forest, you begin to observe more carefully. Your eyes scan the bushes, the footprints on the ground. Suddenly, you spot the trail of a deer. The footprints are light and fresh, imprinted on the moist ground from the night before. It's still quite fresh, and you know the deer can't be far. You carefully move forward, stepping lightly over rocks and tree stumps. Slowly, you feel the tension in the air, as even small noises like the rustling of leaves or the call of a bird make you cautious. It's hard not to be detected, but you focus on keeping calm, like a true hunter. At this moment, you think about the stories your father told you about hunting. He always emphasized that skilled hunters don't just know how to use sharp weapons, but they know how to read the signs of nature. So you focus on following the clues left by the trees and the earth. As you move cautiously, suddenly you hear a noise. It's the sound of a deer jumping over some rocks. You quickly pull back, trying to keep your balance. Peering through some tall grass, you catch a glimpse of the deer standing just a few meters away. But then something strange happens. The deer doesn't seem scared at all. It just stands there gazing at you curiously. You can't quite understand why, but the situation feels like you're part of a game with unexpected twists. Does it know you're there, or has it become so accustomed to human presence? You carefully take out your bow, but just as you're about to draw the arrow, the deer turns and runs away faster than the wind. Another failure. You stand there for a moment, feeling frustration and disappointment rise inside you. This time, you know that if you're not careful, you'll return empty-handed again. It's hard to handle consecutive failures like this. But you know that life in this world won't allow you to give up. You may lose today's battle, but if you don't try again, you'll never learn how to do better. All right, you decide to try again. You look around and notice something strange. It seems like the animals in this area have become too familiar with human presence. Maybe it's due to the tribe's growing population, or perhaps the environment is changing. This makes you wonder, have humans in this era developed to the point where animals are becoming less afraid of us? While you're still thinking, something strange happens. You hear a sound in the distance. You turn around and spot a pack of wolves running toward you. It's not the prey you're looking for, but a group of hunting wolves. This surprises you, and you quickly find a place to hide. Although they're not the prey, you're after these wolves create an unexpected situation. You might have to face danger at this very moment, but you know exactly what to do next. You can't just stand still. You retreat into the shadow of the forest, deciding that today's hunt will end early. You don't want another failure, and you decide to head back home. At least today, you've learned something important in this life. It's not always about getting what you want immediately, but it's never too late to try again. When you return to the tribe, your mother scolds you once more for not returning on time. But you know she's not really angry with you. She understands that in this world, every failure is just a lesson to help you grow. And even though you didn't catch that deer today, you know you've learned a lot in this journey. Part 4. The relationship with mother. When you return to the tent, your mother is standing there, her gaze sharp as always, waiting for you. You know she won't easily forgive you for spending the whole day hunting without bringing anything back but exhaustion. However, instead of immediately scolding you, she just looks at you with a stern expression. "Do you know what you've done today?" she asks. You look up into her determined eyes, unable to hide the disappointment clearly written on your face. Her question isn't meant to scold you, but rather to remind you that in this world, failure is not uncommon, and you need to learn from it. I know you reply, your voice somewhat deflated. You've never liked facing your mother's disappointment, but maybe that's exactly what you need to grow. "I didn't catch anything today, but I've learned a lot." Your mother smiles gently and nods. Failure is part of the process of growing up. But remember, you can't always do whatever you want. You need to think about others in the tribe and remember that every decision has consequences. You feel like you've received a profound lesson. This world where humans must live in harmony with nature requires you not only to be strong, but also to be wise and patient. Your mother always taught you that caring for others and being grateful are two elements that cannot be overlooked in life. I know you reply, biting your lip, but feeling a sense of relief in your heart. Your mother is always the guide, and in this world, you can't survive without her guidance. Your mother continues, but her tone has softened. We don't just live to survive, we live to protect each other. Our survival depends on the harmony of the tribe. Every time you fail, you'll learn something, and that's the most important thing. Without needing to say anything else, you know your mother isn't just teaching you how to survive in a harsh world. She's teaching you how to be part of a community. You sense the importance of relationships, the love in the family, and know that no matter how many times you stray or fail, you'll always have a place to return to those who are always there for you. Part 5. Fire the Loyal Friend. The next morning, you wake up as the first light of day begins to filter through the leaves. You can still feel the warmth of the fire from last night, even though it's long gone. But in this world, fire is not just a part of life. It is everything. Fire is something you cannot live without. Without fire, you can't cook. You can't keep warm on those cold nights. And most importantly, you can't protect yourself from wild beasts. Fire is also a symbol of life, something you need to care for as you would your own self. You remember the first time you learned how to make fire. The whole tribe gathered around a pile of dry grass with sharp stones in the hands of the hunters. And everyone watched the elders as they began to tear pieces of wood to create a spark. At first, you didn't understand why everyone had to struggle so much to create something that could easily be blown out by the wind. But when you saw that first flame, a strange feeling filled your heart. It was hope, it was life, and it was the whole world wrapped up in a small light. Today, you'll have to make a new fire. You didn't bring any back from yesterday, because when you rushed home after your day of failure, the fire had gone out. Your mother wasn't angry, but she did remind you that you must always know how to rekindle the fire, no matter if it rains or if the wind is strong. Fire is a friend you can never abandon. So you take some stones and dry twigs and begin trying to create a spark. At first, nothing seems easy. The stones clink together, making little clack sounds, but no fire appears. You can't help but think of the times you failed in the past, when you gave up simply because a few attempts didn't work. But you know you can't stop. Your mother taught you that fire doesn't come from giving up. It comes from perseverance. You keep trying little by little. Finally, after a few more attempts, you hear a faint, sizzling sound. A small spark flickers, and soon a tiny flame begins to spread. You can't hold back your joy, but at the same time, you feel a sense of pride. Once again, you've done it. When the fire grows, you feel like you've just achieved something monumental. Although it's only a small fire in your world, it's worth more than anything you've ever had. You can cook, you can warm yourself during cold nights, and most importantly, you can protect yourself from the dangers around you. Fire is not just a tool, it is a loyal companion, always by your side during this journey. You feel like you're no longer alone in this world, because you know the fire will always light your path, no matter how many challenges lie ahead. However, as you sit by the fire, you start to think back to the days when no one in the tribe knew how to create fire. Back then, everyone relied on lightning strikes or natural wildfires to get their fire. You can't help but think of those who worked so hard for generations to figure out how to use fire. Without them, you wouldn't have the fire you're now able to make and keep alive. Surely, every time you make fire, you'll think of the past and those who laid the foundations for this life. You'll never forget the feeling when you first saw fire ignite, because that was hope that was light in a dark world. Fire is the friend you can never lose, and in this life you must always protect it, just as you would protect yourself. You look at the fire in your hands, feeling the warmth and life it brings. And then you wonder, will future generations still know the hardships of finding and keeping fire? Maybe that's a question only time will answer. As night falls, you have the fire beside you. You feel more at ease, and this time, you're not worried about the challenges ahead. You know that no matter how the world changes, as long as you have fire, you will always survive. Part 6. Food Trials. This morning, when you wake up, a strange feeling washes over you, the intense hunger. You're not just hungry in the stomach, you feel drained as though you lack the energy to continue with your daily tasks. You need to find food. But as usual, this is never a simple task. Life in the Stone Age doesn't allow you to simply step outside and buy food. Everything you eat, you have to find for yourself. You recall your past hunting trips where you couldn't catch any prey, or that time you gathered some fruit only to discover it tasted odd. Today you decide to try something different. Experiment with new foods that you've never eaten before. You start walking along the stream near your tent, where plants and fruits grow year-round. Your mother has often warned you that not all fruits are safe, and not everything in nature is edible. You clearly remember her words. Be careful with things you've never seen before. The fruits that seem tasty might be your hidden enemy. While you're rummaging around, you come across a brightly colored fruit. It's growing on a small tree quite far from where you've ventured before. The fruit has a thick skin with colors so appealing it makes you imagine how sweet it might taste inside. However, you recall your mother's reminder, never rush to eat anything, especially something with unusual colors. You pick the fruit and sniff it. There's no particular scent, but you're still unsure if it's safe. After thinking for a moment, you decide to try a small piece. As you bite into it, a cold shiver runs through your body. Immediately you taste a bitter flavor, almost as if you've eaten something poisonous. You quickly spit the fruit out and feel a bit of worry. Although there's no immediate danger, the discomfort you feel makes you decide not to eat anymore. Your mother was right. The natural world is not as simple as it appears, and you can encounter risks at any moment. You breathe a sigh of relief knowing that you didn't consume something toxic, but a sense of self-doubt lingers. You realize you need to learn more to be more patient. You leave the fruit under the tree and decide to continue your quest for food. You think about the people in your tribe who regularly go out to gather and hunt. They have a deep knowledge of the plants in the forest. You realize that one day you'll have to learn more from them about identifying safe plants and fruits. As you keep walking, something odd happens. You come across another tree, and this one feels familiar. The thick green leaves of this tree remind you of one your mother once showed you. This tree bears small round fruits with soft, pale skins. You look at it and wonder if this is the same type of fruit your mother once identified as safe to eat. This time you don't feel the same worry you did earlier. You decide to try a small piece, and to your surprise it has a sweet, mild and refreshing taste. You chew it slowly, enjoying the sweet flavor in your mouth. This seems to be a good, safe food. You take a few more to bring back with you, knowing your mother will be pleased to see you found something edible. Even though you haven't caught any prey, at least you found something to eat. When you return to the tent, you bring the fruits you gathered to your mother. She looks at you, her eyes soft with a touch of surprise. "What have you found?" she asks. You place the fruits on the ground and reply, "I think this is the fruit you once showed me. It's sweet and doesn't have a strange taste." Your mother nods. "Well done. But remember, there are many things in the forest that we can't predict. A good food today could be dangerous tomorrow. Always be careful." You feel relieved that your mother doesn't scold you, but instead offers some helpful advice. You can't know what will happen tomorrow, but today you've learned an important lesson about patience, caution, and self-reliance in this life. As night falls and the fire crackles, you sit by the hearth, savoring the taste of the fresh fruit you found. You know that life isn't always easy, but at least for today, you've overcome this challenge. And perhaps that's a part of the long journey ahead. Part 7. The rhythm of community life. The next morning when you wake up, a strange feeling fills the air. It's not hunger or fatigue as usual, but rather a feeling of wanting to be a part of something larger, a part of the community. In your world, no one is truly independent. Even if you hunt or gather food, you still need help from others. Your life is tied to the tribe, and nothing is more important than maintaining relationships with those around you. The people in your tribe are closely knit. They are not just people living under the same roof, but a system that supports one another in every aspect of life. You know that every person in the tribe has their role, from the experienced hunters, to the tool makers, to the women who gather food. Each person contributes to the survival of the community, and every day everyone works together to sustain life. Today you decide to participate in one of the tribe's communal tasks, making tools. You know that, although this task isn't as exciting as hunting or gathering, it's just as important. Without sharp tools, no one in the tribe could survive for long. You've learned from your mother that making tools is an essential skill that everyone should know, especially the young like you. So, you step outside the tent where everyone has gathered to make tools together. The older craftsmen sit around a pile of stones, sharpening them into sharp tools, ready for the hunt. They work with focus, their hands moving quickly, never stopping. The sounds of stone hitting stone echo through the air like the song of life. You decide to sit down and join in. The older craftsmen look at you, their eyes filled with expectation. "Do you want to try making a tool?" one of them asks. You nod, unsure of your abilities, but determined to learn. "Be careful with the stones, they can hurt you," he advises before handing you a smooth stone. At first, you feel a little awkward. The sharp stones are not easy to work with, and you feel like you'll never succeed. However, as you look around and see the skilled craftsmen working so effortlessly, you start to feel more confident. You continue to sharpen the stone, trying and failing, figuring out how to make it sharper. Gradually, you start to feel the progress. These stones aren't just tools. They're a connection between you and the generations that came before, between you and the tribe. After a few hours, you've managed to create a tool that's relatively sharp. It's not perfect like the ones the older craftsmen make, but to you, it's a huge achievement. You feel proud of yourself for having learned an important skill and for contributing to the tribe's work. Even though you didn't catch any prey, at least you've helped by making a tool. From this, you start to realize that every task in the tribe holds meaning. Every person plays an important role in keeping life going. If there were no hunters, the tribe would have no food. If there were no gatherers, the tribe would have no plants to eat. If there were no tool makers, the tribe would have no weapons or tools to hunt or build what they need to survive. Even though you may not be the greatest hunter or the best tool maker, you understand that every part of the tribe is necessary to create a complete society. Every day, you learn something new, not just from your mother, but from everyone around you, those who help you grow. As the sun sets, the tribe gathers around the large fire. Everyone sits together, sharing stories of the day, successes and failures, and plans for tomorrow. You realize that, although life can be full of challenges, it is also full of connections. Every person in the tribe has a part in the shared story, and each of those stories is part of you. In these moments, you no longer feel alone. You understand that your existence is not a solitary journey, but a part of a bigger story. And no matter how many failures or difficulties you face, you can always return to the community where there are friends, family, and relationships that you need to protect and cherish. Part 8. the first invention, owning something. The next morning, you wake up with a strange feeling. You don't feel as tired as you did on the previous days, and you no longer have the sense of lacking something as you have before. In fact, you feel a bit excited, as though today will be a different kind of day. And strangely, you also feel a thought flashing through your mind, that you could create something. Not prey, not a hunting tool, but something new. You can't quite explain the feeling, but you know today you want to try something different. You don't know what exactly you could create, but you're certain it won't be easy. Your mother once told you that creativity is an important part of survival. If you're not creative, you'll never survive in this world, she once said. Of course, you've tried making hunting tools before, but you've never truly created something that felt genuinely useful. At least, not in the way you now imagine. Today, you decide to try something a bit more unique, not just shaping stone or wood, but combining them in a way no one in your tribe has ever done before. So you begin first searching for materials. You go outside taking the sharp stones you've made and search for some dry twigs and other familiar materials. But today, you don't just want to make a trap or a bow. You want to create something that might change the way everyone in the tribe lives. You begin crafting a simple hammer. The people in your tribe typically use sharp stones to crack open nuts or make holes in wood. However, a hammer is something you've never seen made in the way you're imagining. You find a sturdy branch of wood perfect for the handle. Then you attach a sharp stone to the end of the stick, trying to secure it tightly. The process isn't easy. Your hands are sore, and the stones keep slipping out of place as you struggle to tie them to the wood with vines. But you don't give up. You keep trying using vine cords to secure the stone in place, and finally, after much effort, you look at your creation, a crude hammer, but strong nonetheless. You feel an immense sense of pride, because you've created something new. Suddenly, an idea strikes you. You can't just keep this hammer for yourself. If it's useful to you, it will be useful to the others in the tribe. You decide to bring the hammer to your mother to see if she can help you determine whether this invention is really practical. When you walk into the tent, your mother is busy preparing breakfast. You gently present the hammer in front of her, almost as if it were a gift you hope will surprise her. She looks at it, her eyes lighting up, not with surprise but with understanding. "You made this?" she asks, her voice filled with both awe and pride. You nod, feeling a bit shy, but also happy. No one in the tribe has made a hammer like this before. "Do you think it will be useful?" Your mother takes the hammer in her hands, gently testing its sturdiness. Then she raises it and strikes a large stone. A solid, resounding sound echoes, and she turns to you, smiling. "You've done very well," she says. "This is exactly what we need. With this hammer, we can do much more easily, from hunting to making tools. You've invented something truly important." A wave of pride floods over you. This isn't just any hammer. It represents a change, a step forward in your life, and perhaps in the life of your tribe. You realize that in this life, even the smallest inventions can lead to monumental changes. And if you never try, you'll never know what's possible. Your mother doesn't just praise you. She also shares a profound piece of advice. Every invention begins with a simple idea, but if you're not patient, it will remain just an idea. You were patient, and now you have this hammer. Inside, you feel a powerful sense of what might come next. You know that this hammer is only the beginning. Creativity can change everything, and now you feel a part of a world in the process of evolving. You are no longer just a hunter, not only a gatherer, but now you're a creator. As you sit by the fire looking at the hammer in your hands, you feel a renewed sense of hope. Life is no longer just about survival. Now you've found a new path, the path of creativity, of inventions that can make life easier for you and your tribe. Once again, your mother hasn't let you down. She saw the potential in you and in this hammer, and now you know that no matter how difficult the road ahead, as long as you keep experimenting and creating this world will always be open, ready to greet you with new opportunities. Part 9. The battle with the animals. When you wake up the next morning, the excitement from yesterday still lingers. The hammer you created not only fills you with pride, but it also opens up a world of new possibilities. But as if life doesn't want you to become too comfortable, it doesn't take long for you to realize that today will bring another challenge. As usual, you need to find food. But today is not just about normal hunting. It could very well be a battle with one of the most dangerous creatures in the area. You've heard from the tribe that a large wolf has been spotted near the tribe's settlement. These wolves are a real threat, not just because they can eat you, but because they hunt in packs, and sometimes they don't distinguish between who's a threat and who's not. Your mother had already warned you before you left. Today isn't a day to test your strength. If you meet a wolf, come back immediately. But you can't let fear control you. You've learned how to face challenges in life, no matter how difficult they may be. You also remember the stories the older hunters told about how they deal with wolves. They say that wolves will attack if they feel threatened or are hungry. But if you show strength and fearlessness, they won't want to confront you. Still, you don't feel as confident as the more experienced hunters. You're still learning, and although your hammer might be useful for making tools, it's not exactly the best weapon to confront a wolf. You decide to bring the hammer with you, but inside there's still a sense of worry. You can only hope that you won't end up in a dangerous situation. As you step out of the settlement, the sky doesn't look promising. Clouds are gathering quickly, signaling that a storm might arrive at any moment. But you pay it no mind. You take a deep breath, focusing on your goal, finding food. You start walking toward the forest, where you noticed deer tracks yesterday, hoping that today you'll be luckier. Suddenly, you hear a noise ahead of you, the sound of branches breaking. Your heart skips a beat and you stop dead in your tracks. The noise grows louder. You know that this isn't the sound of a deer or a rabbit, but rather a larger animal, perhaps the very wolf you've been warned about. You slowly step back, trying not to make a sound, but just as you turn around, a large dark shape appears in your line of sight. It's a wolf, standing just 3 meters away, its bright eyes locked on you. It doesn't seem afraid, and it may have already noticed you long ago. You try to remain calm, gripping the hammer tightly, even though you know it's not the ideal weapon for dealing with a wolf. A chill runs down your spine as the wolf slowly begins to approach. You feel the tension building in the air. It doesn't run away, and it doesn't seem to want to leave. It's observing you as if deciding whether you're worth attacking. At this moment, you remember your mother's words. When you meet a wolf, don't show fear. If you run, it will follow and never let you go. You try to steady yourself, standing your ground, but you know that a wrong move could lead to serious consequences. The wolf takes another step forward. Its eyes never leave you, and you can feel the pressure mounting. You start to feel your heart race, but instead of running away, you take a deep breath and raise the hammer. Not to strike, but to show that you're determined. You know that the wolf won't attack if you don't show weakness. For a few seconds, you and the wolf lock eyes, neither moving. Then, to your surprise, the wolf backs down, slowly turning around and walking away. It doesn't charge at you. It just leaves, walking back into the forest. You stand there, breathing heavily, unable to believe what just happened. The wolf has retreated. You don't know why it decided not to attack, but you feel like you've just won a great victory. The hammer, though not a perfect weapon, helped you stay calm and strong in the face of danger. You continue walking toward the forest now with more confidence. Though you didn't catch any prey, you've conquered your own fear, and that to you is the most important victory. You've not only survived the challenge of the wolf, but you've also surpassed your own limits. When you return to the tribe, your mother looks at you with a questioning gaze. "You met the wolf, didn't you?" she asks. You nod, feeling a sense of pride swelling in your chest. You know that, despite the challenges ahead, You are now strong enough to face anything. Part 10. The Invasion of Unexplored Land. The following morning, you wake up with a different kind of feeling. It's not fear or anxiety, but rather a strong sense of curiosity. You faced the wolf, fought through your own fears, and survived. But today, you don't feel like you've finished your journey. You feel as though something different is calling to you from a distant place, a place you've never set foot in before. And you can't shake the feeling that today might just be the day to explore something new. You recall the stories your mother once told you about the uncharted lands around the tribe. She often spoke of places where few dare to go, places full of challenges, but also full of potential. Our lives can't just revolve around what we already know, she would say. If you don't step out of your comfort zone, you'll never know what could be achieved. So today you decide that you will leave the familiar forest and venture farther than you've ever gone. You're not sure what you'll find, but you have a strong feeling that it's the right time to test your limits. You prepare a small amount of food, take your hammer, and set off. Everything around you still looks the same: trees, animals, and the vast sky. But today, you sense that you're heading into unknown territory. As you walk further away from the settlement, you start to notice the silence. The familiar sounds of the forest are gone, and the air feels heavier, as though you've crossed into a place that humans rarely step into. You stop for a moment, listening carefully. It's eerily quiet. You continue walking your steps, feeling more deliberate. You realize that every step you take feels like an adventure, and the weight of the unknown begins to settle in. This is a place where no one in your tribe has ventured, and that realization makes you more cautious. As you push deeper into the unexplored land, you spot something unusual: a set of large footprints on the ground. These aren't the tracks of a deer, rabbit, or any other animal you've seen before. These are from a large creature, perhaps a bear or even a tiger. Your heart races as you realize that you may not be alone here. The air seems to thicken with the presence of something big and wild. You don't turn back though. The curiosity that pushed you to this point urges you to continue. You decide to follow the tracks, hoping that they'll lead to something useful, perhaps a hidden treasure or a place you can explore further in the future. But the deeper you go, the more you start to feel the weight of being so far from home. No one knows where you are, and the silence around you grows heavier with each step. You press on, determined. You follow the trail until you come to a clearing. In front of you lies a wide valley, covered with grass and scattered with massive stones. But what strikes you the most is the clear water of a small lake, reflecting the sunlight in a way that feels almost magical. You stand still, taking in the scene. For the first time, you feel like you've discovered something truly untouched by human hands, a place where nature still reigns supreme. But before you can fully appreciate the beauty of this new land, something else catches your eye. You see another set of footprints, larger and fresher than the ones you've been following. Your heart skips a beat. You don't need to wonder for long. A large shadow suddenly appears before you. It's not a bear. It's a tiger. Another tiger just like the one you encountered earlier, but this one is much closer. You freeze instinctively, gripping your hammer tighter. The tiger's eyes meet yours, glowing with intensity. Takes a step toward you, its body poised to strike. But this time, something is different. You're not as scared as you were before. You've already faced a tiger once and survived. This time, you know that standing still and showing fearlessness is your best chance. You hold the hammer firmly, showing no signs of retreat. The tiger pauses, eyeing you carefully. For a moment, you both just stand there, locked in a tense stare. You remember the stories you heard from the older hunters about facing wild animals. If you don't show fear, they'll realize you're not easy prey. To your astonishment, the tiger turns away, its interest fading. It walks off, disappearing into the trees. You exhale deeply, surprised by how your fear has faded and replaced with a sense of strength. You stand still for a moment, reflecting on what just happened. You've faced 2 tigers now, and each time you've come out unscathed. You feel a sense of empowerment, knowing that this journey, this exploration, has shown you just how strong you can be. You've stepped beyond the boundaries of your known world, and in doing so, you've discovered something not just about the land, but about yourself. With newfound confidence, you decide to turn back, knowing that this land will always be here for you to return to when you're ready to explore further. You head back to the settlement, feeling a sense of accomplishment. You've stepped into the unknown and survived. Part 11. The heavy work of the tribe. The next morning, you wake up to the stillness of the early day. It's not that you slept in, but today will be a long day, and you need to mentally prepare yourself for the tasks ahead. You've had an exciting day yesterday, but life in the tribe doesn't allow you to rest for too long. Work is always waiting, and no matter who you are, you can't avoid it. Suddenly you remember your father's words, which always echoed in your mind when things got tough. Life isn't always easy, and if you want to survive, you must learn how to work without feeling tired. These words always stayed with you, especially when work became overwhelming. Your father is a leader when it comes to hunting, and he sees endurance as one of the most important qualities in a hunter. He taught you patience and strength in facing every challenge. You step out of the tent and you see the tribe's leader standing at the meeting point. He's the one who's led the tribe through many difficult times, always making wise decisions and offering guidance. When he sees you, he gives a slight nod, almost as if to signal that today you will be tasked with something important. It's time for you to join the bigger tasks, the tribe leader says. Today, we prepare for the big hunt. Everyone in the tribe must work together, and you need to learn how to work tirelessly. The leader doesn't need to say much more. You understand that this task won't be easy. The big hunt is crucial because it will provide food for the tribe throughout the coming winter. Everyone in the tribe participates in this task, from preparing the tools, planning the hunt, to assigning each person their role, and every job is heavy with responsibility. You can't avoid your duty, even though the sense of fatigue is already beginning to build within you. You head to where the older hunters are preparing the tools. One of the seasoned hunters, the one who has taught you much about crafting tools, is sharpening stones. He doesn't say anything as you approach, but his gaze is full of expectation, as if he's waiting for you to prove what he's taught you. Tools must be sharp, no room for mistakes, he says, his voice gentle but firm. Each stone will determine whether we succeed or fail. If you don't prepare well, the tribe will suffer. Although tool making isn't your favorite task, you know that without good tools, you won't be able to hunt. You begin working alongside the others, steadily and carefully sharpening the stones, making them sharp, neat, and easy to use. Time passes in silence, only the sounds of stone grinding against stone and wood being shaped. After a while, you start to feel the weariness creeping in, but just when you think you should stop and take a break, you remember the words of the tribe leader. We don't work just for ourselves, but for everyone in the tribe. Every task, no matter how small, contributes to survival. These words push you forward. You can't stop now because this is work for more than just you. It's for the tribe, for your family, and for those you live with. When the preparations are nearly complete, the tribe leader signals for everyone to stop. Everything is ready, he says. The hunt is about to begin, and now it's time for the tribe to unite. Everyone has a role, and no one can stand aside. We won't succeed without everyone's contribution. The leader's words resonate within you. Everything in the tribe is a part of a greater whole, and each individual has a vital role in ensuring survival. You understand that even if you're tired, you can't give up. Only by working together, combining the strength of each individual, can the tribe survive. As the preparations wrap up, you along with the other hunters and the tribe members gather around the great fire. The entire tribe sits together, sharing stories about the day, the tasks ahead, and preparing for the difficult hunt. You can't help but feel proud of what you've accomplished, even though the work was hard. With the hammer in your hand and the sharpened tools complete, you realize that every task, no matter how big or small, is a part of the tribe's survival. You've not only learned how to work hard, but also understood that unity and responsibility to the community are the most essential things in life. Your work is not finished yet, but you know that your tribe will stand strong because everyone plays a crucial part. Part 12. Each day is a journey. The days that follow pass quickly with the heavy tasks that need to be done. You no longer feel the fatigue you once did. Instead, you've begun to adapt to the tribe's fast-paced rhythm. Life never stops, and you've learned that each day is a journey that can't happen without the contributions of everyone. Each morning you wake up early with the others in the tribe ready for a new day. Today, you'll be joining the hunting party for the big hunt. Your father has given you a thorough reminder. Always remember that in hunting, patience and preparation are the most important things. We can't just rely on luck. You feel like your father's words give you strength. Today you won't just be helping, you'll be a part of the hunting plan, contributing your strength to ensure the success of the tribe. The older hunters in the tribe have already prepared, and you, though still young, will join them in this important task. As you walk into the forest with the hunting group, a silence falls around you. The whole group moves in quiet unison, each person paying close attention to the signs left behind by the prey. You can feel the tension in the air, as if each step you take is part of a larger strategy where one mistake could cost the tribe everything. Walking through the thick forest, you spot the signs of a deer. It's the target for today's hunt. The group moves silently closer to the prey. You can't help but think about your father's words on patience. This hunt isn't a race, it's about being calm and using strategy. Finally, after following the tracks for a while, the group reaches the deer. It's grazing, unaware that it's being tracked. The older hunters signal to you and the others to remain silent. You can feel the tension rising. If the deer detects you, it will escape. With your bow in hand and an arrow ready, you are almost at the final step of completing the hunt. Just then, a strange noise from the distance disrupts the quiet. You see the deer's alert posture. Your heart begins to race, and you know that if you don't act immediately, it will run away. The hunters give signals to prepare. There is no time for hesitation. You pull the bowstring, aiming precisely at the deer, and release the arrow. The arrow flies through the air, striking the deer. A thud follows, and the deer falls to the ground. You and the hunters quickly approach the prey. A sense of victory rises within you. This isn't a monumental achievement, but to you, it's an important step in your journey. You've really participated in this hunt, and you've contributed to the tribe's success. You're no longer just an apprentice. You've become part of the tribe's hunting team. When you return to the settlement with the deer, your father stands by the entrance. He looks at you with a proud gaze. "You did well," he says, his voice gentle, but also filled with authority. But remember, this is only the first step. Life is not always as easy as it seems. You feel the warmth of your father's praise, but you also understand that this is encouragement for you to keep striving. You've begun to realize that life is not always easy, but with each challenge you gain valuable lessons. You're learning how to hunt, how to make tools, and how to work together with the people in your tribe. You're also learning how to take responsibility, not only for yourself, but for the well-being of your community. In the days that follow, you continue to take part in the tribe's work. Life continues on, and you feel yourself growing with each passing day. Every task, whether small or difficult, brings you a sense of completion. You no longer work just for yourself, but for your tribe, for your family, and for those around you. Life in the tribe may be challenging, but you know that as long as everyone works together, the tribe will thrive. You're no longer a solitary figure, but a part of a community where every person plays a vital role. Each day is a journey, and you know that there are many more challenges ahead. But no matter what, you will always be ready to face them. Part 13, the Day of the Ancestors. The hunting season has passed, but life in the tribe never stops. Even though you've started to feel like you're part of the tribe, part of this world, the challenges continue. One morning, when you wake up, a different feeling overtakes your mind. You feel like you're standing between two worlds. One is the present world, where you must work relentlessly to maintain life, and the other is a distant world of your ancestors, those who walked difficult paths that you are only now beginning to explore. Your father is the first to speak about the ancestors whenever you seek to understand more about life in the tribe. We don't just live for the present, we live for those who came before us, he often says. You've never really understood those words until now, when you feel a deep connection to the past. Perhaps today is the day when you'll come to understand this more fully. The tribe leader announces that today is the day to honor your ancestors. Each year at this time, the tribe holds a ceremony to remember those who have gone before. This is the moment to come together, offer gifts, and pray for the prosperity of the tribe. You're no longer just a member of the tribe. Today you will feel the full weight of your role in the continuity of this long tradition. As you arrive at the ceremony area, you see the elders preparing the rituals. The shamans and wise ones of the tribe are talking about the customs about how to honor the ancestors and the sacred rituals. Everyone in the tribe is gathered ready to offer gifts to the ancestors, hunting tools, food, and finely crafted items made from the best materials. As you watch, one of the old shamans approaches you. He looks at you, his eyes filled with understanding. "You are young, aren't you?" he asks. "You've seen these tools, these items we still use in our daily lives. But they were used by your ancestors, those who not only survived, but helped lay the foundations for the life you now live. You feel as though you've been given a key to a deeper part of the past, a part you never truly understood. You've lived among the tribe, worked and learned from those around you. But today you realize that you are part of something greater than just the tribe's present. You are part of a long chain of ancestors, and every task you perform, every tool you make, is connected to their struggle and survival. These tools, these gifts, are not just material things. The shaman continues. They are symbols of the strength and endurance of our ancestors. You may not fully understand now, but one day you will realize how important they are in your life. The shaman's words fill you with thought. You've been learning how to survive, how to hunt, how to make tools, but now you realize that you're also learning to preserve the legacy of those who came before. Every task, whether it's hunting, gathering, or crafting, is part of an unbroken chain that stretches back through time. When the ceremony ends, you find yourself standing among the tribe looking at the people around you. The hunters, the tool makers, the elders, everyone who has passed on their knowledge and wisdom to you. They are not just figures in the past, but people who lived, worked, and fought for the survival of the tribe. Now you feel a deep connection to them. You are not just part of the present, you are part of the continuity of this life. The cycle of struggle, survival, and growth that has been going on for countless generations. As you leave the ceremony, you carry the weight of your ancestors with you. You are not alone. You are part of a story that is far bigger than yourself. And every day as you face challenges, you know that you're not just surviving for yourself, but for the tribe, for your family, and for the generations that will come after you. Part 14, the historic battle. Life in the tribe continues, but one day you hear news that a significant battle is about to take place in a nearby region. This isn't just any battle, it's a part of the tribe's tradition, something that is inseparable from the culture of your people. This battle is not only a chance to prove strength and skill, but it is also an opportunity for everyone in the tribe to demonstrate unity and endurance. Your father always emphasized that in any challenge, strength lies not only in physical power, but in your mindset. A battle is not just about victory, he would say, but about how you face challenges and overcome your fears. You can't help but think about those words as you hear about the upcoming battle. This is a challenge that you cannot avoid, and you know you won't be able to escape it. The battle is part of a ritual that honors strength, endurance, and bravery. Those who participate will face each other not just for victory, but to prove their worthiness and earn the respect of the tribe. But this isn't a simple fight, and if you choose to join, you must be prepared both physically and mentally. When you arrive at the battleground, the tension is palpable. The hunters, toolmakers, and members of the tribe have gathered to watch. The tribe leader stands nearby overseeing the preparations. He has witnessed many battles like this and understands the true significance of this tradition. This battle is not just about who is stronger. The tribe leader says, his voice calm and powerful. It's about understanding that everyone has value. Win or lose, you will always be a part of this tribe. Fight for us, for those who came before, and for those who will come after. You look around and see not only older members of the tribe participating, but also young ones like you. A mix of anxiety and excitement fills you. This is your chance to prove yourself, but it's also a real test. You feel the pressure, but you can't let fear overtake you. The battle begins with a loud command. You and your opponent charge at each other, each trying to defend and attack. You can feel your muscles tense, your heart racing, but you fight to maintain focus. You know that in this battle, strength alone won't be enough. It's about your mind, your instincts, and how you react under pressure. Your opponent is skilled, fast, and powerful. They know the tricks of battle and seem to anticipate your every move. You start to feel the weight of their experience, but you refuse to give up. Your father's words echo in your mind. If you can't win with strength, you will win with wit. You decide to change your tactics. Minutes pass and you realize that if you continue to face your opponent head-on, you won't win. Instead, you use the skills you've learned from the tribe's hunters. You move swiftly, finding gaps in their defenses and waiting for the right moment. Finally, you spot an opening and manage to land a decisive blow. Your opponent stumbles but refuses to give up. The battle stretches on, but eventually you manage to overcome them. It's not an easy victory, but when your opponent acknowledges your win, you feel a sense of pride. Not just because you won, but because you've overcome yourself, your fears, and your limits. As the battle ends, the tribe leader steps forward and speaks. Victory is not just for the winner, it's for all of us. Each battle is part of the process of learning and growing. Today we've shown that strength is not just physical, it's the strength of the mind of unity. You take in the leader's words and you realize that today the battle wasn't just about defeating an opponent. It was about defeating your own doubts, fears, and limits. You've proven that you are not just part of the tribe, but that you can face any challenge that comes your way. When you return to the tribe, your father looks at you with pride. You did well, he says. You didn't just fight for yourself, but for everyone in the tribe. With this victory, you feel a deeper sense of growth within yourself. You are no longer just a member of the tribe, but someone who has faced trials, battled fears, and contributed to the strength of the community. You've learned that every challenge, no matter how difficult, shapes you into someone stronger, someone capable of facing whatever comes next. Part 15. Life after a long day. Life in the tribe never becomes easy. After the battle, you feel a bit exhausted, but also filled with satisfaction. The days that follow are full of the same hard work, hunting, tool making, and looking after the tribe. But each time you look back at the trials you've overcome, you realize you've grown so much. The sense of confidence and resilience has become an essential part of you. One evening, as you sit by the fire after a long day of work, you can't help but reflect on everything you've been through. Every challenge, every battle, every task has its own meaning. They not only teach you survival, but also help you understand the value of life in the tribe, the importance of unity and responsibility. You think back to the words of the tribe leader. We don't live just for ourselves, but for the community. Every task, no matter how small, has a huge significance for everyone. This feeling of connection with those around you, something you never truly understood before now, fills your heart. You realize that you are no longer just living for your own survival, but for the survival of your people. As you sit by the fire, your father comes and sits beside you. His gaze is gentle, but you can sense his concern. "You've done well," he says softly. "Each day you become stronger, but remember that life will never be easy. The challenges will always come, and only when you're ready to face them will you truly grow." You nod, feeling the sincerity in your father's words. Though you've faced many trials, you know there are many more ahead. But with each passing day, you feel more capable, more ready to take on whatever life throws at you. You've learned that survival isn't just about physical strength, but about your mind, your patience, and your willingness to work with the people around you. As night falls, the fire crackles, and you sit in quiet contemplation. You think about how far you've come, how much you've learned from the tribe, from your family, and from yourself. You're not just a hunter or a gatherer anymore. You're a member of a community, part of a legacy that spans generations. You've learned how to face challenges, how to be strong, and how to be part of something greater than yourself. When the night grows late and the fire begins to die down, you feel a sense of peace. You've come a long way, but the journey is far from over. Every day is a new challenge, a new opportunity to grow, to learn, and to contribute. You know that no matter what happens, you will face each day with strength, wisdom, and the support of the tribe. As you close your eyes and drift into sleep, you know that tomorrow will bring new challenges. But you're ready for them, because you've learned that life, no matter how difficult, is always worth living. Good night.